That's what we're all about here. I'm here to answer your questions. Okay. So any questions
Yeah,
so
I
far?
have
Yes,
one.
yes, Cindy.
Okay, so when I do a value study, I do a value study, but I'm not sure what I'm really looking at or what I'm trying to accomplish in that. I know like big areas and not broken up little
Right.
areas. But I do one and I look at it and it's like I'm not sure if it's good or not. I mean,
Well,
what I'm looking at.
yeah. Sandy, the the determination of whether it's a good value study or not is does it launch you off into the painting? That's the main thing. Sometimes my value studies are really kind of scrambled and kind of pretty loose, but I get an idea of what I want to do. That's the main objective.
Hmm.
Now, probably if you go to art school, or they'll say things like, well, try to limit it down to three values. Think of big shapes, and that's basically the process of it. But the purpose of that is to launch you off in the painting. So sometimes my value studies are a little more complete than others, and sometimes my value studies, quite frankly, can only really be read by me. They're that loose and that scrambled. So that's the main idea. I will be doing a value study in just a couple of minutes here, but I will. Most photographs are not going to help you too much on limiting down to three values: lights, midtones, and darks, let's say. And so that's what I really try to do, and I will show you that. Um, but equally as important is that it starts to generate creative thoughts in my mind. It starts to get me into the action of painting. It's kind of a stepping stone into the painting process. It's a pretty difficult thing to do, to just take a white sheet of paper and just start painting
Yeah.
without much thought into it. So I think it gets me into the right side of the brain. Big shapes, simplified values, and then also gets me mentally prepared. It's basically it. But try not to. I had this real problem when I was first starting out painting after art school. I felt my value studies, just like you said, were it's just not very good, or just not very accurate, let's say. And I picked up a book on sketches by somebody, I can't remember, and they were really nice. I mean, they were refined pieces of drawings, and I thought, well, this is what I should be doing. Well, it's not. It's not what I'm doing. Those were in that book because they were really nice. No, the purpose of the value study is only for you to get you launched into your painting. And
Hmm.
however scrambled that might look, if it works for you, uh,
Okay.
it's
I guess I just need to keep doing it. And
yeah. Yeah, really, your objective is not to do really a nice value study. You just do enough of them to where they just kind of work for you.
okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
What we can do about a value study. And Sandy, I mentioned that sometimes my value studies are so simple that really only I can read them. And actually, this is an example of this. You can see this is the value study I did of this same scene, close in on it, a week or so ago. Whereas other value studies, you might see them, a little more detail. So they can be very brief if you want them to be. Even though I did a value study of it a week or so ago, I still, if I were in my studio and I'm not teaching this class today, I would still come in and do this process. It just gets my mind into the rhythm of the painting here. And the value study is not a blueprint. It's something to get you going into your painting. But you can, if you have have a reason to change something as you're painting that's different than the value study, then you do it. It's okay. Okay, so that's basically two values right here. Now I need to decide, okay, there's three objectives we have for good painting. One is we want to catch the viewer's eyes throughout, we want to catch the viewer's eye at a distance. And we do that with big, simple shapes, as we've already mentioned, and also assign them a simple limited value range. I like to start out with 3 lights, midtones, and darks, but sometimes I'll add a couple more in. But I do want to keep it under 10. The human eye can see 440 value shifts. Paint will allow us around 40 value shifts, and yet in painting, we want to get it down to under 10 because we want to catch the viewer's eye at a distance, and you can't do that if you have too many value shifts, which means big shapes, simple values. The next thing we want to do is carry the eyes throughout the picture plane and then bring it. Thirdly, we want to bring it to an area of dominance and hold it there as long as possible. So right now, I'm trying to think about what will my area of dominance be. In the previous painting I did, I actually only showed just a portion of the trees up here, and most of it was the pond. And now I'm trying to think, could I do, I try to decide, and this is something that I don't like to just go into guessing on. I try to decide what my area of dominance is going to be. And I'm thinking it's going to be right into here. Now I've got the sun up here peeking through. Maybe we could bring the sun down through here and then that reflection right in there of that sun. So that yellow right there. So this, I'm thinking this might be our area of dominance. Let's try that. It's a little different composition than what I did before. So that you can see, that's just only a 2 value study right there. Now let's add in some darks and see what we've got. And I'm going to take the hint from my from my photograph of where the darks are at. But there is a little bit of a risk on that because when you do that, you can end up just kind of stupidly putting in the darks just exactly as the photo shows, and then that may not give a very good pattern. So we have to kind of borrow the idea from the photograph, but not be dictated by it. Okay, so you can see right off, I'm running into a little bit of a problem here. Do you see how we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 trees that are kind of lined up evenly distanced from each other? I don't tend to see that so much in the photograph, but once I get it down on the paper, it starts to manifest itself, that problem. So let's try to soften that impact by, I think, combining some of these shapes a little bit. I'm going to try to combine these two that are into more of a one shape here. That helps out to get rid of that evenness. And then we'll carry the dark on down here again. After you've been painting a while, you start to realize that all painting is the same. It's basically an abstract pattern that you're developing. It's not like you're doing, I do street scenes, or I do landscapes, or I do, subject matter. Really, it's all the same, really. Now, I think what I want to do is make this a mid-tone across through here. Okay. So we have these shadows coming out, and then the reflections start down here. Okay. I mean, I think that's a good start. And I actually take the mirror and I look at this in reverse with a mirror behind my shoulder. And I say, yeah, I kind of like that. I think that that'll work, at least so far at this point.